Hey there, wonderful parents. It's Kathy here, your self-esteem booster and host on the Tips for Parenting Youngsters podcast, your go-to for parenting tips. I'm on a mission to help you reach your full potential and create a nurturing and safe family environment. I am not here to beat you up for your past parenting mistakes, but instead to focus on 3 critical pillars that I learned from being a parent and grandparent that turned myself and my family life around. My 3 pillars are assertive communication, conflict resolution, and those all-important healthy boundaries, all of which lead to raising self-esteem in your children and yourself. So let's get started. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think, says Christopher Robin to Winnie the Pooh. Christopher Robin is talking to Winnie the Pooh about self-worth, which is today's topic. Self-worth means knowing and feeling valuable and deserving of love, respect, and happiness just because you're you. It's firmly believing in yourself, accepting who you are, and recognizing your unique qualities, even if others don't see them. It's about feeling good on the inside, no matter what happens on the outside. So grab your favorite beverage, find a comfy spot, and let's get into today's topic of self-worth. This is Tips for Parenting Youngsters, where every episode brings you closer to building self-esteem and stronger, more meaningful relationships with your children. Up until my 65th birthday, I struggled profoundly with my self-worth, constantly seeking validation through pleasing others. I lived a life shaped by the needs and expectations of those around me, especially my mother. I sacrificed my desires and needs to cater to others, but in doing so, I lost sight of myself. Every attempt to prioritize my happiness was met with accusations of selfishness and unkindness. My mother raised me to look after her needs and listen to her problems. If I asked for help or support, I was told I was selfish and unkind. I was raised where love was conditional. I remember this one day when I asked for my mom's help. She looked directly at me, pointed her finger, and said in an angry tone, "And what are you going to do for me?" From that day forward, I stopped asking anyone for help. Yet even when everything was hard, I still believed in something bigger than myself. I wasn't into religion, but I knew a powerful force existed. When I felt sad or scared, I asked for help, hoping to find peace amid all the chaos and turmoil around me. At the age of 18, I married my husband. I went from looking after my mother's and siblings' needs to my husband's. Again, I put my needs on the back burner because I didn't want to come across as selfish. I had 3 children by the age of 25. Now I had more needs to fulfill by raising them. I felt guilty when I needed a mental health break or when I spent money on myself for a manicure that would make me feel good. I I didn't have anyone telling me to look after myself. And then suddenly, our kids were moved out, building their lives and having children. They are at an age where being with their friends is more cool. They don't want to hang out with their parents or grandparents. I get it, and I bless them every day. But I found myself with all this time and thinking about everything I hadn't done. That is where I found myself on my 65th birthday. I didn't want to die with regrets. I have been aware of wanting to be a better person my whole life, maybe because others quickly pointed out my faults. So I spent years and years doing self-help courses, but getting the same results. I was still a people pleaser. I still had anxiety and bouts of depression and overwhelm. I didn't want to be on my deathbed with regrets that I hadn't started that podcast. I didn't take that trip alone to empower myself. And so, I made a decision. I was going to be selfish. If that is what people wanted to think, so be it. I was going to put the oxygen mask on myself and get the oxygen and chi energy flowing through my body to help me. I didn't want to live with anxiety or depression for the rest of my life. I didn't want to die with regrets. So the first thing I decided to do was look after my health. I decided to spend money on a physical exam, and that was the beginning of a change in my life. I was an emotional eater. If I'm happy, I turn to food. If I'm sad or tired, I turn to food. And I wanted to stop that negative pattern, but I didn't know how. I didn't have the tools. That wasn't in any of the courses that I had taken. To make a difference in your life, a real difference, you have to heal and work on yourself to break the chains of patterns of negative behavior. And so, because I was an emotional eater, I signed up for a behavioral modification program with a doctor and registered nutritionist. I lost 18 pounds. I felt great. It was beautiful. But you know what? Nobody said a damn thing. Not one person. But as I kept moving forward, I figured out something important. I was only doing well because I wanted others to notice and praise me. I wanted them to say I was doing a good job and thought that's how I could feel good about myself. Without the praise, I doubted myself again and fell back into old habits. However, this time was different. I had new people in my life. And that was another thing I changed. The changes were subtle at first. Instead of doing the same old things, I tried something new, which was terrific. I started to get out in nature, which made me feel happy. I rekindled my relationship with my higher power. Reiki, something I'd stopped doing before, called me back because it promised spiritual healing and renewal. I started learning about it again, seeking that special connection I had when I was younger. When I practiced Reiki, I felt something change deep inside me. It was like I found a part of myself again and remembered how amazing the world can be. And the magic within started happening even more. As I reconnected to my higher self, negative people in my life drifted away. I didn't stay loyal to people who constantly hurt me or didn't match my values. It was challenging initially because I was raised not to hurt other people's feelings. No, it's okay for them to hurt me, but I am not to hurt other people. Again, my self-worth was emotionally beaten out of me because I was supposed to be there for other people, but they were not there for me. But now I found the courage to stand up for myself. In doing so, I started to discover myself more and empower myself. Who is Kathy? What is she like? What does she like to do? How does she want to spend her money? What brings her value? I was learning who I was. Not as a daughter, wife, mother, or grandmother, but me as a person. And suddenly, the information from all my courses started spewing out of me. Because I guess I was taking the information in, I just hadn't acted on it. At the time, they were a dopamine fix. I discovered food was my dopamine fix. And books and courses were my dopamine fix. It made me feel good when there was a delivery at my door. But now I was looking at these things differently. I started learning other ways to make myself feel good. As I embarked on my journey of self-discovery, positive affirmations became my daily ritual. A commitment to believing in myself and my worthiness. I recognized the necessity of affirming my values and embracing the truth that I deserved happiness and abundance. Through this practice, I internalized a newfound sense of self-belief, which paved the way for profound transformation. As I embraced self-love, I witnessed shifts in my relationships. As mentioned, some people naturally drifted away as our values diverged, but I found peace knowing that love remained, albeit in different forms. Previously, I relied on others to fill my cup, but now I understand that true fulfillment comes from within. True worth comes from honoring yourself and acknowledging your needs and desires without guilt or shame. It's about embracing your individuality and nurturing the spark of divinity within you. Learning to cultivate and prioritize my well-being has been a transformative journey that continues to unfold with each passing day. As my values changed, I found my voice again and stood up for my boundaries. I diligently take care of my needs. Others don't like it when you change. It is a very lonely process, but so worth it. The weight started coming off again and quickly. Why? Because I didn't need validation or acknowledgement from others. I gave it to myself. I now look at myself in the mirror, directly into my eyes, and tell that person how proud I am of them. I don't care what others think. I need to be honest with myself and love me for me unconditionally. The journey of self-discovery and healing is not always marked by overwhelming sorrow or profound suffering. Instead, it unfolds in subtle moments of realization and empowerment. It's the small victories, the quiet epiphanies that shape our path towards wholeness. Healing occurs when you recognize your worth and prioritize your needs, whether in the decision to change direction or the courage to say no to what no longer serves you. Oscar Wilde says it best: "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." As parents, it's essential to recognize that external factors like weight, jobs, or roles in our families don't define our self-worth. Instead, it's rooted in the unique individuals we are created to be. My journey is a powerful example of how I once tied my self-worth to pleasing others and fulfilling societal expectations. However, through self-discovery and healing, I've learned to prioritize my needs and embrace my worthiness independent of external validation. This journey underscores the importance of being role models for our children, showing them that true fulfillment comes from within and encouraging them to cultivate self-love and authenticity. By modeling self-worth grounded in inner strength and acceptance, we empower our children to navigate life's challenges with resilience and confidence, ensuring they embark on their journeys of self-discovery with courage and grace. At this moment, I find myself grappling with the concept of autonomy, balancing the dynamics of relationships, whether a spouse, children, grandchildren, or friends, while prioritizing my needs presents a challenge. How do I maintain a sense of self and independence while nurturing meaningful connections with others? I will explore this in next week's episode, Navigating Autonomy Within Relationships. Parenting can be challenging. If you have thoughts, questions, or stories, I'd love to hear from you. Email me at Kathy@parentingyoungsters.com and let's start a conversation. Your input helps shape the content of my podcast and creates a supportive community for parents like you. Thank you, listeners, for embarking on this journey with me today. Your time and attention are precious, and I am genuinely grateful that you chose to spend them with the Tips for Parenting Youngsters podcast. Your support and engagement mean the world to me. As I bring this episode to a close, I invite you to subscribe to my podcast, Tips for Parenting Youngsters. Episode drops every Thursday. Discover strategies for positive parenting. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and join me as I navigate the complexities of parenting to build stronger family bonds and self-esteem. There is always time to rewrite your family story. Break free from patterns that no longer serve you and create a home filled with love, understanding, and unwavering support. I'm here to guide you every step of the way. As I conclude this episode, I must state that this podcast is designed solely for educational and entertainment purposes. While I bring my experience as a parent and grandparent, it's essential that you know I am not a licensed therapist. This podcast is not a substitute for professional advice from a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional. Got it? Awesome. Until next time, what is one thing you are grateful for?